So the first thing I did was take an 8-inch concrete filling tube and use a bread knife, as anyone would do, and chop through that. And then I made marks where I was going to put a long PVC pipe through. I would not recommend a bread knife for this if you have an actual saw. That is preferable. I do not, thus the bread knife and the box cutter. So once I cut a hole on one side, I just estimated where the hole on the other side would be. I've made a few mallets at this point now, so I can guess pretty well. Pushing it through the other side took me a little bit, and you can see me struggle there. And the next thing I had to do is cut that PVC pipe because it was too long. And again, I used a bread knife. Not the best thing to cut through a PVC pipe. This probably took me 15 minutes to cut through, and my hands were really sore once I was done cutting through that. I found this really long sheet of foam at Michael's, and it was only $8, which is really great. And I was looking for a long sheet of foam so that I could measure it around that 8-inch circular thing. And then I started doing some of the detailing once I had that cut out and all the holes positioned. So this is going to be a Joker mallet. So I wanted it to say haha somewhere. So I actually physically cut that out, a big haha. And then you can see me scoring in ha-has all around. You'll be able to see them in a second here once I heat seal it. It's really important to heat seal your foam. Otherwise, it will just suck up all of the paint. And there you can see the ha-has more in detail after I heat sealed it. Next, I had to do the sides. So cutting out this thick whiteboard takes me a really long time to do. So I struggled again. I'm used to cutting these out though, so I knew it was going to be a struggle. It's always a struggle. But this is just I think it's a 1/2-inch white foam board. You can get these at craft stores. And then I just cut out 2 circles. I wanted to be a little bit bigger than the sides of the mallet. So I measured those out to the actual size of the mallet and then made them a little bit bigger, realized they were too big, and then went back in and made them a little bit smaller to the size that I wanted them to be. Then I had to cut the foam for those. I cut the foam a little bit bigger because I wanted the foam to connect somewhere on the back. I heat sealed them so that it would be easier to put them onto or glue them onto it. And then I used a heat gun to glue it around the sides of the foam. That heat gun I'm using was around $20 from Joann's. It is extremely hot, and if this was not muted, you would hear a lot of very strong words on my part from me giving myself burns all over my hands. So please, please, please be safe whenever you use a heat gun. If you are a kid, get a parent to do it for you or an older sibling. They get very hot, and once you get that hot glue on your hands, it burns and burns. So this is what the 2 sides look like once they were done. They're not perfect, which is fine. We're not looking for perfect here. And then I wanted to push that PVC pipe all the way through that. And then I used hot glue to secure the inside of it. This hot glue gun I have is kind of an industrial one, so it holds really well. Once I hot glued the inside, then I glued on those side caps and I let those dry. And this is what the mallet currently looks like. This is just the base structure of it. So this is Plasti Dip. I highly recommend you have this in your arsenal for any cosplay props. It creates a nice even coat and also prevents any paint from cracking. And you can reheat it later if you need to, if your foam gets a little bit out of shape or does start to crack. Highly, highly recommend. So I usually coat all of my props in this Plasti Dip. It doesn't matter what color it is. It's very easy to paint over. So I just get the black one because it's the cheapest, even though it is still pretty pricey. So there I am just coating everything. I coated all of my foam and my mallet in the Plasti Dip. It takes around 45 minutes to dry. And then I coated everything in a silver spray paint to give it that metallic kind of look. This is what it looked like once it was done being sprayed. And then I painted a little bit of green and purple over where I had previously cut out that haha. And I'm using contact cement to attach the foam to the outside of the mallet in the middle. I pre-measured it, so I'm not quite sure why it wasn't fitting, but it wasn't fitting. So there are some bumps in there. Usually you're supposed to let it dry for 15 minutes before attaching it, but I am impatient. So I didn't wait, and I should have. Then I went inside and I painted the top and bottom caps purple and green to match the theme of the Joker that I was going for. I also had a diamond that I had previously cut out, so I coated that in green as well to go on one side of the mallet. After I brought it back in, I started going through with my glue gun and just reattaching any pieces that hadn't settled with the contact cement. Contact cement, you need to use it outside. It smells very bad. I should have worn a mask. Didn't. Oh well, got a migraine. It's what it is. So I'm just gluing down any extra pieces here. And another reminder that if you are using a hot glue gun, please be very careful. They're very, 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 very hot, and they will burn your hands very badly if you are not careful. I burnt my hand several times again. And then I went into weathering the mallet. I wanted it to have a rust look, so I went in with browns, reds, and blacks. So I'm putting on a mixture of the brown and red, and then I'm going in with a wet paper towel that I dipped in black paint to kind of smear out the weathering look. I'm not good at a lot of things, but I do take pride in my weathering of products, if you haven't noticed from my past videos. So I wanted to get some darker tones in there as well as some stronger reds or stronger browns, depending on the area that I was weathering. And there I just coated all of the engraved ha-has with a black watered down and went over it with a paper towel to dust it off. This is what it currently looks like. I do have some more to do to it, so there will be one more part to this video, but that is the current stage we are at with my mallet. As you can see, I weathered quite a bit of it, weathered around that cut out logo, weathered the side, put the diamond on, and did some weathering around that. I weathered both caps at the top and the bottom as well as the long handle. So I started off by cutting out around 1-inch strips of foam that were going to be used as strips around the sides of the mallet. And then I laid those down, and I also put out a bunch of googly eyes. And you guys will see in a second why I used googly eyes. Funny fact, when I move my mallet now, it shakes as googly eyes do. So it has a little bit of noise to it. And then I sprayed it in Plasti Dip and I coated it in a silver spray paint. That's how it ended up looking like after the coat of the spray paint. And then I had to attach the straps. So I used hot glue for this. Again, be careful with hot glue. Didn't burn myself this time, luckily. I cut holes around where that giant ha-ha is so that it wouldn't be covered, and I just filled in some empty gaps where it was raised a little bit. And then I went into gluing on those googly eyes that I had sprayed to make them kind of look like bolts in the sides, so those straps were bolted in. And that's what it looked like once everything was glued down to the mallet. So the basic structure was there, and all I had to do was weather it and do a final spray coat. So I used the same mixture. I used a dark brown, a red, a black, and this time I actually added in a silver for a little bit of blending. So I go in with a paintbrush, dabbed in the red and brown, and then I add a little bit of watered down black, and then I spread that out using a paper towel. And usually the paper towel gets pretty wet, which is okay because we don't want the colors to be blocky. We want them to be more spaced out or more spacey and blend easy to give it more of a natural rust feel. So this is me just dabbing some paint in. And then I actually put paint all over my lips, which I do not recommend. Please be safe if you do this. I used a non-toxic paint. And then I kissed the side of my mallet because why not have a kiss mark on the side that says Sweetheart Harley? And I kissed a little bit too high, but that's okay. And this is the final product. This is what it turned out looking like. So I got my Sweetheart Harley with my kiss mark on one side, all my bolts and nuts and bolts and straps on the back, and my weathered diamond on the other side, and that ha-ha on the front there. It's really light. It's super lightweight. This mallet probably cost me $40 to make, but I put around 12 hours of work into it. And here are just some closer up images of it. If you are going to make this mallet, just know it is very time consuming. As I said, it took me 12 hours. The longest part of this process is doing the weathering and the painting. The infrastructure itself doesn't take a super long time, just a lot of manpower. So I really hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of it. You see there up top, it's a little bit dented and there are some wrinkles in the foam itself. I love that effect because it looks worn and torn and like Harley was smashing things with it and it got damaged over time. So I personally love it this weekend. I hope to shoot pictures. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and what do you think I should create next.